My tard brain likes it. It's true. My tard brain is basically a toy box. It's all my favorite things. Speaking of my favorite things, Nicholas Rekieta Law, a small law firm in southern Minnesota. He is making preparations, making plans, conspiring to return to the mainstream. Here's what he has to say on his locals channel. Stream time is coming. Hey guys, just dropping an update. Streaming will return very soon. I have Ryan, the editor, helping build out voices for the super tip system, so that should be fun. In the meanwhile, I'm just working on keeping this house moving. Kids' crazy schedule is still in effect until the end of the school year. Some combo of Kayla and I drive about 120 miles every day, getting them to various activities. This is a lot to do given all the time that I spend paying off the media and earn such glowing coverage. Lamau. Really looking forward to next week. I have a couple of big things happening. I hate waiting on government for everything. I will be sentenced on April 18th. And I really hope that's when I can finally start moving forward with life again. See y'all very, very soon. There's a lot of shit happening in April. I want to say that the Greer thing has a very unusual scheduled hearing in April. The Donkey Kong lawsuit with Billy Mitchell will have a verdict hearing on April 1st. And Rekieta is also getting sentenced in April 18th. So April is a big month this year, chat. Keep your calendars marked for April. Then he made rice, and he posted this on the internet. Oh, he even has little chopsticks. Oh, nice. Yep. That's rice. Next. Still Morning Show. Okay, this was a big deal, and for some reason, I was not informed of this, and I'm very disappointed in my forum. Listen here, chat. If something is interesting, and I don't give a f if you think it's a small deal, if something's interesting, you have to post in the community happenings thread. Because it's like, how the f did this not get brought to my attention immediately? Aaron Imholte, who is generally a reliable narrator in certain things, has said that the Kayla revenge case has concluded very favorably to him. He says that if you remember, during the height of the Rekieta stuff, Aaron immediately fumbled and sent a nude picture that he had received of Kayla to a law tuber, and then Nick filed a complaint with the police, and then they actually pursued it. It's like a high-ranking misdemeanor to do revenge in Minnesota. And he was arrested for revenge. His mugshot's on the internet. I think it's even down there. Yep, that's him arrested for revenge. And he's been going through that at the same exact time that Nick's been going through his case. And it finally settled. And what it settled with was a $50 fine and a conviction for a petty misdemeanor, I think is what it was. Down from a gross misdemeanor, if I'm getting that terminology correct. And part of the reason why they settled is, according to Aaron, that Nick Rekieta was extremely annoying. And they didn't want to pursue the case anymore. Now, he could be lying. That sounds like something, if you're going to tell a half-truth to make a more interesting story, that sounds like the point you'd want to harp on. But from his side of things, he said that in the initial complaint that the state received, almost all the testimony was given by Nick Rekieta. So the police took a couple notes from Kayla, who was like, yep, that was me. He has an image of me, and he probably shared it. That picture sounds like the picture I gave him. And then Nick Rekieta gave him like this trauma dump of like all the reasons why he hates Aaron Imholte. But I just thought, like, wow, $50 for Kayla's nudes, huh? That's the going rate in Spicer, Minnesota. I don't know if I should be disappointed in the system or in Rekieta. I assume in Rekieta. I feel like that's the more appropriate party to blame in this. By the way, apparently he's returning as... I don't even know what the Dabbleverse is, but apparently Rekieta wants to get involved in the Dabbleverse and show the Dabbleverse the fried rice. If you know what the Dabbleverse is, leave a comment below. Leave a comment below and tell me what the Dabbleverse is. I don't know, chat, but apparently he's involved in that. Nick Rekieta is scheduled to have a sentencing hearing on next Friday, the 18th. I'm not sure what the broadcast rules are for that. I don't want to be Ethan Ralph, so We'll see if I can talk about that live. If not, we'll wait for the verdict, which is very interesting because once Nick Rekieta is found guilty, then his presumption of innocence, which protects certain things of evidence from being released to the public, is over. And I think I'm so dedicated to this that I will sue Minnesota if they do not oblige me with the body cam footage after this. Because there's once he is guilty, there is no rule that explains why the body cam footage should be withheld from the public. So I will do everything possible, everything that my attorney is willing to do for basically nothing. I'll allow him to pursue whatever he wants, which may involve suing Minnesota for the footage. The issue is that they don't release it before the person is found guilty or before it's entered into evidence. So if the state entered it into evidence, then it would be public. And if he's not guilty, they won't release it in order to not harm his defense from the public, basically, so that jury selection is easier. But once he's guilty, or if it had gone to trial, if it was entered in evidence, we'd get it. So we're going to try again. And we'll also know exactly what the consequences are for giving a child, basically. Well, probably not much. In the meantime, Rekieta is having more issues, allegedly. So a while ago, and this has been going on for so long, I feel the need to recap. Nick Rekieta got into a white trash argument with somebody named Aaron Imholte. And one of the things that Aaron accused Rekieta of doing while they were doing drugs and having is he stole his laptop and gained access to his Gmail account to spy on him. And when this accusation first happened, I raised an eyebrow at this and I said, that's a felony. If you access something on a computer that you're not supposed to, even if it's unprotected, even if there's no password whatsoever and it's just sitting there in front of you, if you access any computer remotely or directly without permission, and you know that you're not supposed to have access to it, basically, you've committed a hacking offense. That's our federal definition for hacking on the Computer Fraud Abuse Act or whatever. So my first thought when I heard that he had to access his Gmail account through his computer without permission was that he's committed a felony, and you might actually want to report that to the FBI. Well, many months later, supposedly, according to Aaron, who is not necessarily the most reliable narrator in the world, but who for the most part is batting pretty close to 100, he says that the FBI is investigating Nick Rekieta for a Computer Fraud and Abuse Act violation for accessing his email account. And there is some evidence that, in particular, accessing certain, because I think he maintained access even after they stopped being friends. And Nick supposedly used his access on the Gmail account to read confidential attorney privilege letters, which is a serious ethical issue. And that could cost him his legal license moving forward if he ever wanted to practice law again. One of the points of evidence that have just come out, thanks to Alyssa Clips, is that Alyssa sent Aaron Imholte an email. And shortly after she sent Aaron this email, she got a message from Rekieta saying, "Oh, Alyssa, so butthurt you sent our DMs to Aaron to hurt me. Why don't you send him your nudes like you did to the guys in my Discord? Make sure you take his money." So that was his message. And it kind of evidence what Aaron is saying, that there might be a federal investigation into Rekieta for computer abuse issues, which just compounds his already shitty situation. So, especially if he accessed any kind of attorney-client privileged information of a opposing counsel, like that's a big problem. So, that's a little update on Nick Rekieta. So, I have really big news. I'm probably going to be one of the first people talking about it just because the timing is so perfect. But on Wednesday, this filing came in, And here's where we're at in the Rekieta stuff. So if you don't know, like late last year, or the middle of last year, he got arrested for cocaine possession, firearm possession, and the presence of cocaine. And his daughter tested positive for cocaine metabolites in her hair, indicating that she had ingested cocaine in some way at some point. So he went through family court. I think he's getting custody of his children back. It might be supervised custody where they check in on him every so often. He was facing a lot of years in jail because he had so much cocaine on him, but he's a first-time offender. So we were all watching the case, and then eventually he took a plea deal in January, and we've been waiting to see what the terms of the plea deal are. And what he will have to do. And we didn't know what the state had. The state has a pre-sentencing independent body that looks at the facts of a case and suggests to the court on behalf of the prosecutor and the court what the pre-sentencing committee believes that should happen to the defendant. And then the defendant is allowed to argue if that's too harsh, and then the judge makes the final binding decision. So in this, we actually got to glean some details about what the pre-sentencing committee had suggested in the case of Nick Rekieta. And what they had suggested was 30 days in county jail, 80 hours of community service, and 5 years of probation, which is pretty heavy. That is pretty heavy. Nobody expected that he would get a jail sentence at all. He argued that the community service should be dropped, that the jail should be waived, and that the probation should be reduced to 1 year. And supposedly there was going to be a hearing today, and it was unknown when this would come out. But chat, I'm very pleased to inform you that before the stream started, we did get the news of the sentences, and it is 30 days in Candido County Jail, and the 80 hours of community service was upheld, and also the 5 years of probation was upheld. However, caveat, it says here that the 30 days confinement may be deferred with probation. So he is sentenced to serve 30 days in jail in August, but it can be deferred if he complies 100% with probation. In fact, I think that it's contractual. So if he does manage to stay 100% in line with the probation officer and gives them no reason to complain about him whatsoever, then he may be able to avoid any jail time. But it's on the table. It's like the sort of Damocles dangling over his head. And quite frankly, it is embarrassing that he got the sentence at all, because he told people up and down he would serve no jail time, and he's been sentenced to jail time. So literally, if he gives his probation officer any reason whatsoever, they're going to be monitoring him constantly, they're going to be checking his piss at random, they're going to have patches on him that he has to turn in and wear all the time. So if any alcohol is found in his system, if any intoxicants of any kind show up in the system, if he does anything that is against the terms of his probation at all, he is going to jail. And as a matter of fact, chat, at this very moment, I have asked our attorney, so I need to turn that off. I've asked our attorney to submit to the Candido County Police Department our request for video cam footage. Minnesota state law prohibits the release of footage except where there's consent and except where there is guilt. So now that there is a guilty party, as long as the investigation is formally closed, there is no legal basis for the state of Minnesota or the county to deny us our request. I told you it would be a waiting game, and if they deny us because they have no legal basis, we may be suing them, because I have a feeling that my attorney might be willing to do a little civil rights lawsuit, pro bono, as they say, for the charity and goodwill of all mankind. Chat. I am 100% convinced we're getting that footage. Shouldn't have said that I wouldn't get it, because I'm going to get it. I'm very confident in this. We'll see. It's not 100% in my control, but I'm going to do everything that I can, chat, for you, my audience, for my lovely viewers who deserve to know how their justice system works, and how police interactions are carried out. It's a public service, a public good, on a noteworthy, newsworthy person, chat. And that's the update on Nick Rekieta. We'll see how it goes. Bad news. The situation between Montegraph and Rekieta has taken an unexpected turn. As I mentioned Montegraph had recently switched counsel from his previous attorney to Matthew Harden, just out of the blue. He wasn't solicited. It's not legal to solicit for an attorney like that. So it was completely 100% Montegraph's own decision to do this. And a couple weeks after switching counsel abruptly, he has apparently, and I only know this because of the publicly available documents, he has apparently voluntarily dismissed his own lawsuit. The reasons for this are unknown to everybody. Just out of the blue, Montegraph, after years of suing Rekieta for calling him a pedophile over and over and over and over again, has just randomly dropped the lawsuit. Nobody knows why. So, another win for Nick Rekieta. We have Total Balldo Victory. I need like a Baldo theme song where it's like every time something happens that benefits Nick, I can play it. I need like a Carpenter Brute, like industrial, like kind of song. Hold on, what do I think? There's a video that I'm precisely thinking of. Man, it was like a video of like the old like 3D troll head, and he has his hands up, and it's like a troll victory, and it plays like a really like industrial kind of sound for that. I don't know. If you have a suggestion for the Nick Rekieta victory anthem, I need to get this set aside on like a soundboard so I can play it. No, I'm never gonna find this. Dude, if I search like troll victory on YouTube, I just get shorts. Like that's the only thing that YouTube shows me now. They're really pushing shorts. It's such a classic meme. Panzermensch. Maybe. I don't know. Sad. I'm usually so good at coming up with music off the top of my head, but not right now. It's just such a such a negative thing, obviously. I'm completely devastated by it. Oh well, I will come back to the next stream. I will have my total, because obviously Baldo is just going to keep winning. He's going to stack those wins high. I'm sure that Aaron Imholte's going to get executed by the state before next week. So I'll have plenty of time to find the theme song for Nick Rekieta's continuous wins, chat. All right, Nick Rekieta. So updates on him really quick. First of all, his ex-boyfriend, Aaron Imholte, has changed lawyers. I don't know why he decided to do that. Perhaps he took some advice from an innocent streamer who was only looking out for his interests. But he has indeed switched attorneys, so he may be fighting the terms of his parole or whatever, his restraining order that prohibits him from talking about somebody, which is patently unconstitutional and impermissible unless it's a term that you agreed to as a stipulation, in which case you can agree to whatever bullshit that you want to, even if it doesn't make any sense to do so. So it appears he's lawyering up, and he's going to be fighting the ordeal under a familiar roster of judges. The guy that he's gotten, by the way, is let's see. Who is this? Let's just open this up. Can I see this? I have been retained by Mr. Imholte in this harassment restraining order matter scheduled on July 15th from Ross Montgomery, RWMSW. And then Francis White, I believe, is the judge? No. Oh, this is his old attorney. I think that he is just acknowledging that he's leaving. And then they're having a meeting about it on the 15th, which has already happened. And there's another meeting about it on the 23rd, which has not happened yet. So next stream, we may get an update from Aaron Imholte in regards to his petition to change the terms of his parole. Because he is going to get in the ass repeatedly until he changes that. Also, last stream, I announced that the Montegraph lawsuit between Rekieta and Montegraph over him being called a pedophile had been terminated. To make this clear, once you progress too far into a case, a party cannot simply abandon the case. Because if you dismiss the case, then you can't just do damage and then when you're about to lose, leave the case. So if you decide to leave the case, you have to have both parties agree to it. And to be clear, when two parties agree to something, it's called a stipulation. And basically anything can be agreed to in a stipulation, including unconstitutional stuff, as per the Aaron Imholte thing. So in the case, Montegraph said, I want to drop the case. To which Nick Rekieta and his attorney, Randazza, agreed and stipulated that they would drop the case, presumably with the condition that they would not file for damages or fees or costs or anything if they agreed to it. So it's a white piece, and they both walk away. I did not know why Montegraph did this, but basically Montegraph admits that it's a financial constraint, but he also says that the original purpose of him suing Rekieta is no longer of pertinence anymore and not worth the money to pursue. Because when Nick Rekieta called Montegraph a boy-loving pedophile many, many years ago, Nick Rekieta was near the top of his game. He had thousands of people in his audience. He was well respected in the law tubing community. Many people cared about what he had to say, and many people believed what he had to say. Montegraph's point is that it's no longer worth the money to pursue the case because Nick Rekieta is no longer credible, and Nick Rekieta calling him a pedophile no longer has any bearing in the judgments of rational people because he is so irrelevant and so irreputable that there is no harm in the defamation. So you could say that that's Cope and Sneed or whatever. You could say that Rekieta lost and that actually he's the real loser. But chat, that's so wishy-washy. I don't like those kind of fence-sitting positions. You know how I am. I like to take extreme positions. So I got to say, I got to chalk this up. You know what this is.
Total Balldo Victory.
I made that lovingly by hand, completely free and open source software. By the way, I even downloaded a AI thing for generating voices and fed it Quake announce or sorry, not even Quake announcer lines. Some other game. I forgot. I fed it announcer lines from a game from 1990 and kept rolling it until I got a good Total Balldo Victory. I want to put this together perfectly. Downloaded a high quality copy of the song. I did the image editing in Photo P. I used Kdenlive for the video editing. Completely false, a 100% false, ethically sourced meme. Chat. Unreal Tournament. That's it. Sorry. KDE Kdenlive is how you pronounce it. Sorry. Play it again. I will.
Total Balldo Victory.
See, this is how you know. I do my bits ahead of time. I prepare. I put the hours in, chat. I put the hours in for you. This stream took an inordinate amount of time. Usually my streams don't take like more than a full work day to put together on Thursday, but I've been chipping away at this all week. Brief update about Nicholas Rekieta. As mentioned when he received his sentencing earlier this year, there would be a couple months period of his probation where pending successful completion of probation, his 60, I think it was 90 days, 30 days, how many days? 28-day jail sentence would be deferred upon the completion of his, if he stayed in good standing with his probation. And as expected, he did complete his probationary period. At least he has 5 years left, like of the 5 years, almost all of it left. But the jail sentence that would have been handed out in August if he immediately up has been deferred. So, really minor Rekieta update. Not much to say about that. Just going to move right along. This is what I'm being told in regards to Nick Rekieta. According to I think people were actually there, and then according to the clerk, apparently what happened is this. He is currently involved in some gay litigation against Aaron Imholte. And I don't know. I guess they're litigating over who gets custody of the butt babies or whatever. But you're not allowed to record court proceedings. And somehow he was caught using OBS to record his court proceedings and was evicted from the court by the judge for illegally recording it, which can be contempt of court as well. And then apparently, according to somebody, in the court proceedings, when his attorney's objections were overruled, his voice cracked in nervousness, which is embarrassing. Okay, God. The thread has moved so fast that there's no like postmarks for it. I wonder if there's like a requested postmark that I can look at. Okay, here's the post about it. Last ride says, edit. Well, Nick kicked out of Herring for recording. Court clerk. God, I think I might be dyslexic. I should probably get that checked out. Court clerk determined he was recording and booted him. Said he'd need to disable it before being allowed to rejoin. White noticed that his client wasn't in the Zoom call anymore and asked about it. Either the court clerk or court admin unmuted and said that he'd been removed from the call because he'd been recording it. Zoom does not have a built-in record button, and I can see the button as an observer, but I'm not clicking that shit to find out what happens. I assume that they could have realized he was recording, which means Nick picked the dumbest possible way to get a contempt of court charge. You can, if you click the recording button on Zoom, it like announces it. It'll say like, Nick Rekieta is recording. It's like really super obvious. Oh, okay. So the clerk of court saw the OBS logo when his camera went off. Which, if you don't know, if you set your webcam to OBS and there's nothing on OBS, it will just show the OBS logo. It won't show anything else. And the clerk knew that it's like recording software. So he kicked him out for that because his webcam switched over to the OBS virtual camera instead of like his actual camera. So it's possible that he didn't. He just up and broadcast his OBS virtual camera instead and scared the clerk of court. and then his lawyer apparently squeaked because he got his objection overruled. Okay, so that's the Rekieta update. I don't know if he actually did anything nefarious. While I do not have a Nick Fuentes segment, I do have a little bit to say about Nick Rekieta. Not too much. Just that he looks absolutely flaming in this. For whatever reason, he wanted to show up to E-Court. He was having an E-trial against Aaron Imholte, his arch nemesis. Aaron had been accusing him of harassment. And so he decided that the way he would present himself to the E-judge is looking like a homosexual straight out of Miami Vice. And it's an interesting choice. I wouldn't recommend this to anybody. It seems like a bad idea. Apparently, throughout the entire thing, he was sitting there smug, disinterested, looking gay. And then every time Aaron brought up the fact that Rekieta would threaten to kill him or was just like verbally abusive towards him and his family in general, he would start like smirking to himself, which is not really how you want to present yourself. If I had to show up to trial, I would literally visit a tailor or like a dresser or something. And I would be like, I need to look as sympathetic and trustworthy as possible. What color do I wear? What tie do I wear? What glasses I want to look as sympathetic and trustworthy so that when people look at me, they don't say, oh, this guy is a smug, condescending dickhead. This guy poses a threat. This guy is an asshole. I would want to look like a little cherub with a pure soul. But for some reason, Nick Rekieta, genius, 10 million IQ. It's just like, yeah, I want to look like a douchebag. I want to look like this trial is inconveniencing me in my cocaine empire dealings. So he showed up. This was the case where I was alerted last week that he had been evicted, thrown out of his own internet conference. What had happened is, and I think I was correct, is that he was recording himself to Zoom by using OBS's virtual camera. And when he changed his camera for whatever reason, it just showed the OBS logo in the Zoom conference. The clerk at court who was managing the Zoom conference saw the OBS logo, knew that it was a recording software, and booted him for potentially violating the rules of the court. During the court, by the way, because you're not supposed to record the court, but obviously people did. During the court, Nick was actually giving out live Twitter commentary. This was one of the deleted posts that was archived by people on Twitter and on the forum. Scarebro says one of Rekieta Law's deleted tweets he made during the hearing. Now, I got to give it up to him. It's a funny tweet. Rekieta says, there are 75 people watching the Zoom hearing. I don't know if he remembers doing streams that big. Epic own. Really funny joke. I hope it doesn't come to bite him in the ass. I hope it's worth it if it does come to bite him in the ass. Because Rekieta was posted after the hearing, after he was kicked out. I have been ordered not to comment on pending litigation. Peace, y'all. So the outcome of the trial that he had was that the judge told him no more sassy social media posts because you've been posting during this conference making fun of Aaron as he says that you've been harassing him. So apparently the gay Coke Lord as did not pay the dividends he perhaps was hoping for. Can't say I'm surprised. I've said this before, but when it comes to the justice system, like, it can really inconvenience you. So you don't get to play silly internet games with the justice system because they can make themselves extraordinarily disproportionately expensive, time-consuming, and life-ruining. So just show a little bit of humility. You don't have to actually respect the proceedings, but you have to make certain people think that you do. Otherwise, it's not going to help you. Okay. So let's try to summarize this, okay? Thousands of years ago, Nick Rekieta did a little crackarooski. Crack rock, technically cocaine. Obviously, he would never do crack because he's a rich man. And he doesn't need to resort to crack when he has high-quality cocaine to hide in bullets around his house and on his nightstand. He invited the Imholtes to participate in a love quadrilateral with him. And eventually, Aaron Imholte, a local radio DJ, was ousted from the love quadrilateral, which then became a love triangle. And then eventually, after his arrest, the love triangle collapsed, and his wife left as well. So now they're separated, and the love triangle throuple thing is also separated. However, to epically own Nick Rekieta after the collapse of the love quadrilateral, Aaron Imholte publicly on live, while announcing his actions to the world, sent a picture of Kayla Rekieta naked to a Sirius XM ex-DJ. And this was reported to the Kandiyohi County Police Department because Minnesota has anti-revenge laws on the books, as it turns out. So when Aaron Imholte was reported to the police, the only witness to this crime was that Sirius XM DJ who did not want to get involved in any way, shape, or form with this bullshit. So there was no witnesses. There was no real case. The law was kind of shaky because I don't think it had been attempted before or something like that. There are some doubts about if he could be prosecuted. So Aaron Imholte did the thing that any logical, self-respecting man fresh out of a love quadrilateral would do. And he immediately pled guilty to the charges, meaning that there was no case to present. And the judge then got to impose whatever penalty he wanted. However, before sentencing Aaron Imholte, he was held to certain conditions of pretrial release. Certain conditions which some attorneys listening to this podcast may believe are unconstitutional because they attempted to enforce onto Aaron Imholte types of speech impositions which are technically impossible for him to uphold. And like any logical, sane, rational person would do, Aaron Imholte actually waived his constitutional rights by agreeing to pretrial release conditions that he could probably fight and win. So by throwing away his defenses and by throwing away his right to challenge certain things, he not only set himself up for whatever the judge wanted to do to him, he also set himself up for more failure, which he didn't have to go through as a condition. So at some point, somebody else on his comedy tour said something about Kalya. And that was one of the things that was probably unconstitutional. That not only is Aaron Imholte not supposed to talk about Kalya, but nobody around him is allowed to talk about Kalya either. So even though it is unconstitutional, he agreed to it and didn't challenge it, and then broke the terms of his release. So when this was reported by Nick Rekieta to the judge, he was found in contempt because he had violated the terms of his release. So then trial day comes around, and Aaron Imholte, or sentencing day comes around just this week, and Aaron Imholte was sentenced to 15 days in jail for revenge, which sounds like a lot, chat, because if you remember, there was this guy called Nick Rekieta who was found with a felony level of cocaine in his possession in plain view of his bedroom door in a house with 5 minor persons living in it at the time, as well as firearms that were statutorily criminal simply by being in the presence of a controlled substance that he was dead to rights on. This person was not given any jail time, despite the fact that he basically committed several different felonies and weapons-related misdemeanors, okay? He got no jail time. Aaron Imholte sent a picture and will be getting 15 days of jail. So this guy was such an incredible up that he is going to jail for like a misdemeanor that somehow Nick Rekieta got away with. Felonies in the same spat. He is the only one between the two of them who is currently going to jail. So if you want to stipulate that Nick Rekieta is some kind of like the whole, there's a whole conspiracy that his family is like a big donator to the local zoo, and this local zoo is like a money laundering operation to bribe politicians. So if you're a subscriber to the zoo conspiracy, you can chalk this one up to it, because somehow Aaron Imholte is going to jail and Nick Rekieta is not. So if you want to call it a conspiracy, I won't blame you. But nobody can deny that this is a total Balldo victory.
Total Balldo Victory.
I see people in chat coping and seething, saying, I hate Nick. Doesn't un his wife. No, this is still an L because he's with Kalya. No, listen again.
Total Balldo Victory.
Says it right there. Total Balldo victory. Okay. And that is the Nick Rekieta update. We are pulling out of the super chat segment because this is big news. Okay. If you are still listening, you're going to be treated to some unfiltered Maddie that nobody else is going to hear. I might have to recover this next week. So about a week ago, I want to say, a mysterious user by the name of Star Trek on Join the Kiwi Farms and posted something about Nick Rekieta that caused a stir because it was unclear how he could possibly have a picture of the inside of Nick Rekieta's bedroom. And now this picture has been posted, and I mean, it's going to require analysis before making a judgment on it, but it's called the cuckcave.png. The author says, I believe this is where Nick Rekieta hides out just before a cuck session. Ethan Ralph, can you confirm this statement? Some here have wondered when the swinging began. As far as I know, it began after Kalya met ISTG, Ian Star Trek Gamer. More on that another time. Let's take a step back to the beginning, how it started before the term our wife could confidently be used. There was our fiance. Enter the tale of Matt Squared. Two old friends of Kayla, we'll call them True Love Matt and Secret Rendezvous Matt, expressed an interest in her years before Nick and Kayla got married. While they were engaged, Kayla decided to explore these feelings and hooked up with True Love Matt. Kayla's feelings were so deep for Matt that less than a week before they got married, Nick drove her to True Love Matt's house to determine if she was truly ready to marry Nick. Nick had to know if what they had was true love or if she was just a slag who made a mistake. After the meeting of the minds, Kayla relented and she married Nick later that week. I suspect Nick knows that it was more than an emotional connection, that she hooked up with True Love Matt shortly before their wedding. However, he doesn't know that there was another guy named Secret Rendezvous Matt that she also hooked up with while they were engaged. I can't say for sure what hooked up with means. It could range from kissing to dork dumpster dumping. All the signs were there from the beginning. Nick didn't learn that turning a hoe into a housewife is a dangerous gambit. Kayla, our fiancée, decided that she needed to punch a meal ticket, and she did so without grace or dignity. Kayla knows almost everyone, including the lowercase I internet, thinks she's a whore. Kayla agrees that she's a whore. Nick and Kayla just don't want everyone to talk about it publicly. That's like what is that? It's like branded hardcover books. Dude, well, hold up. Let me ask the I want to see if the women from the body cam footage are still available. All right, there we go. I don't know if it might be in the thread. I'm gonna send them this picture, and then I'm literally sending a picture of my screen like a mongoloid, and asking, "Does this look familiar?" Question mark. Sorry for picture quality. I am streaming. Did they? I wonder if they posted already in the thread. Oh yeah, that is his house. They already proved it's on Zillow. I'm getting a message typed right now, chat. I'm gonna wait for this. We're waiting on. Only read the rest of the super. So it can be clipped. We'll just sit here and be really nice, okay? Nice, quiet, waiting for the reply. Okay. They said that unfortunately I didn't see the part of the closet, but that is consistent with the rest of the house. Everything looked like that question mark. Account called Star Trek has posted what appears to be the cluttered inside of the Rekieta household and offered information. Nick being cut at the beginning of their marriage. I don't want to say information. What could I use? What's grok? What is another word for information when it is merely alleged? Claim, report, assertion, gossip. Gossip, that's a good one. That's one of my favorites. They said that in some rooms, most definitely. So this is definitely Nick Rekieta's house. And one of the people who have seen the body cam footage says that this is consistent with the state of the house everywhere. So it's very bizarre. Rekieta has to know who this person is. This guy is in his closet, literally in his closet. Is it Aaron? Who knows? Who knows, chat? What a mystery. Oh God. I can't even restrain my enthusiasm about the topic. Aaron Imholte served his days in jail, and so when he got out of jail, to epically own him, the pedophile Patrick Melton, who made sexually violent comments about Aaron Imholte's daughter, decided that they would call up one of the inmates who was in jail at the same time as Aaron Imholte to try and get any hot goss. Did Aaron Imholte cry like a bitch? Did he love the BBC? Other modified questions were posited toward this black man that they had rang up from the county jail. And as it turns out, according to the black man, that Aaron Imholte is really good at basketball, and they gave him a cute nickname because he was so good at basketball. He basically just sat and watched movies on his tablet, which I guess is what they do in jail now. I mean, if it works for toddlers, I guess it should work for black people in jail. You just give them a tablet with BET on it, Black Entertainment Television, and you just like say, look, just watch this and stay out of trouble. If you get into trouble, we'll take away the Black Entertainment Television. That'd probably be a very effective policy. So he just watched shit on his tablet the entire time. It was like a week. And he was good at basketball. And he was apparently a very nice, optimistic, easygoing kind of guy. So Melton literally called up a darkie from the jail, hoping to get some epic owns on Aaron, and received absolutely nothing. Meanwhile, on the other side of the aisle, we have Nicholas Rekieta. New fantasy user Star Trek posted this literally at the very, very tail end of the Last Man at the Internet episode. And if you don't stick around for the super chats, you would not have gotten my live reaction to this. But someone sent in a super chat towards this post, and I literally unpaused the super chat segment to do a take on it. A situation has developed. So this is what was shown to me. This is a picture from supposedly the inside of Rekieta's closet, and I believe that has been confirmed by the Zillow pictures that we had found of the house a long time ago. It matched up very closely. There was some suspicion because it matched up so closely that perhaps this was an AI composite and it was not a real image. But I believe that in some way Rekieta had confirmed that this was not the case and that these are real photos. So I'll just read Star Trek's post and summarize it. Because I believe this is where Nick hides out just before a cuck session begins. Ethan Ralph, can you confirm this statement? Some here have wondered when the swinging began. As far as I know, it started after Kayla met Ian Star Trek Gamer more than one time. Let's take a step back to the beginning, how it started. Before the term our wife could be confidently used, there was our fiancé. Enter the tale of Matt Squared. Two old friends of Kayla, we'll call them True Love Matt and Secret Rendezvous Matt, expressed an interest in her years before Nick and Kayla got married. While they were engaged, Kayla decided to explore those feelings and hooked up with True Love Matt. Kayla's feelings were so deep for Matt that less than a week before they got married, Nick drove her down to True Love Matt's house to determine if she was truly ready to marry Nick. Nick had to know if what they had was true love or if she was just a slag who made a mistake. After the meeting of the minds, Kayla relented, and she married Nick later that week. I suspect Nick knows that it was more than an emotional connection, and that she hooked up with True Love Matt shortly before their wedding. However, he doesn't know that there was another guy, named Secret Rendezvous Matt, that she also hooked up with while they were engaged. I can't say for sure what hooked up with means. It could range from kissing to dork cum dumpster. All the signs were there from the beginning. Nick didn't learn that turning a hoe into a housewife is a dangerous gambit. Kayla, our fiancée, decided that if she needed to punch her meal ticket, and she did so without grace or dignity. Kayla knows almost everyone, including the lowercase I internet, thinks she's a whore. Kayla agrees that she's a whore. Nick and Kayla just don't want everyone to talk about it publicly. That was the confirmation picture. This is a picture of Nick and Kayla from when they were in high school, or whatever. I can't remember when exactly they met, but they're either high school or college sweethearts or whatever the fuck. And the captions added to this are, "I love you more than your family hates me," says Nick. Kayla says, "And I love Matt and Matt." Then Nick says, "Our wife, great joke, wedding time." And this is a follow-up post by Star Trek. In a recent stream, Nick mentioned that he wanted to write movies after he finished law school. This reminded me of a situation with Kayla's sexting buddy, Ian the Star Trek gamer. After sharing her sexual desires with Ian, he suggested that she could watch a movie called Savages with Nick. I haven't seen the movie. Apparently, there's a love triangle between the lead actors. Kayla showed the movie to Nick to try and get him more comfortable with her sexual degeneracy. Nick wasn't overly impressed with the movie. It certainly wasn't American Beauty. After watching the movie, Kayla asked Nick if she would share her. Initially, he said no, and that's when Kayla decided to tell Nick about Ian. This became, quote, the worst day of his life. Not long after the worst day, Nick relented, and after a short while, they came up with a sharing plan. Relationships outside of the marriage would be limited to physical contact and not cross an emotional line. This is a weird thing where I think women believe that an emotional affair is worse than a physical affair, and men believe that the opposite is true. A physical affair is worse than an emotional one. I think they're both equally bad. Both are like immediate deal breakers. But if you want to debate that in the comments, go for it. All communications with people outside of the marriage would be open for each other to see. However, for Kayla, the sharing plan was slightly different. If some of you recall, a long time ago in Locals Chat, Kayla proclaimed some crazy shit that only the cheater can determine if their behavior is defined as cheating. She said this because only the cheater knows the true intent of their behavior. I'm paraphrasing. Hopefully someone has the Locals Chat archived. Kayla crossed the emotional line first, and they both ended up having physical and emotional relationships. Now I'm curious, was it the plot, the writing, or the acting that didn't impress Nick? In fairness to the movie, it must be difficult to properly critique something after Nick's worst day. The significance of this post has been that it is long speculated what Nick Rekieta's quote-unquote worst day ever was. And it has always been speculated to be an accident in the family, something terrible with the kids, so on and so forth. However, Star Trek offers that Kayla had an emotional and sexual affair with somebody named Ian, and when Nick found out, that was the worst day of his life. Could be true. I guess an emotional affair. He says, I'm not sure if it matters or not for your tier list, but Kayla never banged Ian. The humiliation caused by Ian is akin to a bull, so I believe he belongs on the list. I would create 2 vertical columns. Bulls and cows. Kayla enjoys women as well. And then, to add insult to injury, in the middle of this appearance of the Star Trek, our old dear friend Ethan Ralph had been having a bad week himself. And so he decided that he was going to burn it all down, bish. He's going to burn everything down. I'm going to show you, bish. And so he shared his conversations on Twitter with Nick Rekieta, and it includes some photos. So here's Rekieta Law speaking to Ethan Ralph. These are low quality because they came from screenshots of that motherfucker's mowing the lawn again. I can't stress how small. Oh my God. The lawn is so small. What are you doing? Don't care. Miss this. Don't actually want anyone else. And that is a picture of April, not Kayla. He says, I do not blame you. When I saw her, I was like, whoa. Then, like I said, her personality is great. Her personality is great. He says, women hit me up nonstop these days. Married chicks, I'm out here accidentally landing. It's not great, Raffle. Yeah, it would be, lol. I can testify. They have pink coke as well. A kind of... Let me get really close to my screen. Hold up. They have pink coke as well, kind of Tusi, which is like ketamine, MDMA, and other shit mixed in. They have like 3 or 4 kinds. The blue is the best. Rekieta Law responds to this deranged rambling of a drug addict by saying, yes. Oh no, this is a message from a different app. He sends us a screenshot. He says, yes, sounds fun. I don't ask for much. I'm a lot of fun. I'm a fun guy. That's the rumor. That's him talking to a woman that wants an affair with him, I guess. Lamau, dude, I can only imagine. Bored married chicks. They heard all these stories. Then they want to know. Then there's a picture of him with April. And he says, this was one of our last times together. She was stunning. I didn't know that. I didn't bother to counter it because it's so dumb. That doesn't matter unless she didn't pose for it, maybe. Make it a little worse. But Faith posted. I don't know what it says after that. I hope she is now. I miss her. I don't doubt that. She is really fun to be around and easy on the eyes. Her boyfriend won't let me see her for some reason. Handcuffing her. Lol. No idea why. Haha, yeah, that method doesn't work anyways. Don't ask me how I know. Even Ralph got cocked. And then Rekieta is sending a screenshot of April sending screenshots to him. So we're looking at we're looking at a stream of Ethan Ralph's Twitter DMs of Nick Rekieta sending him SMS messages that include a screenshot of Twitter, just so that we're clear about what level of hell I'm on, trying to squint and read this image. So April Anderson sends him a message saying, haha, life is so perfect. That guy into the ground. I'm still hoping he thinks my black and white Insta post 3 posts ago was about him. If you happen to look at my Twitter, I am dead. It literally has nothing to do with you. It has to do with the meaning of weird low life in my life. But it's going to make for some great trolling. Keep living, baby. It's so good right now. I wish you could see me doing it. I guess this is Rekieta talking to her about how he's with her boyfriend. That's awesome that she is doing good. I guess I could have sent that to myself. Oh, this was a long time ago. She wasn't doing well. Ha 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 ha. Oh yeah, just showing that you weren't running it. I hope she is now. I miss her. Everything we did was leather and cool. I used to have this 90s looking jacket that I love, but I can't wear it because I lost so much weight. Good problem though. Yeah, you've been killing it. I miss my dietary supplement. I do not blame you. When I saw her, I was like, wait, did I read this? I did read this. The Ralph that fights everyone in the dead sector is the one that is miserable. Every warrior needs to plow the fields while looking for... What is that from? This is like a Discord message. Look, you coming at me over still having feelings for April or doing whippets isn't pleasant. People already think that shit anyways. My feelings for April are genuine, but just plain because life has probably permanently separated us. I'd like to move on, but it takes time. As for whippets, I don't do them anymore. It's the most destructive thing I've ever experienced. So this motherfucker's doing whippets. And he completely none of those messages said anything about Kayla. He's just like, I sure do miss my old bang maid. I sure do miss living in squalor and doing drugs. Wow. Good job. Meanwhile, Ralph himself, his comeuppance for exposing this affair was that the A-logs hard at work found Linda Quintana. Linda Quintana, also known as Le Prostitute. Wait, no, that's French. The Prostitute of Argentina. This is the woman that Ralph has at multiple times purported to be his girlfriend. But as a matter of fact, bitch, she's a dirty whore. This, by the way, is, I believe, I've decoded this message, okay? There's like a bang emoji and then like a coughing emoji. I believe this means that she fucks and sex. And she at some point worked at Chuck's. This is supposedly an Argentinian bank account number. And then she says she only accepts transfers from this number. And then she has a ghost emoji, which Grok says is code for add me on Snapchat. So she is a literal prostitute that sucks and fucks. And you can add her on Snapchat, but you gotta pay. And you gotta pay Argentine pesos. This is the Grok thing about how it's an Argentinian number and how she takes money from it, and how the lawnmower is still going on, and how the ghost is a Snapchat icon. Someone confirmed that this was her because she is missing a tooth, and we had seen her teeth before, and they were not that great. And also, she has a mole, because there was a blowjob video that somebody had found, and it had a mole that matched with her as well. This is just them finding the images originally and proving that she's a prostitute. And this is her saying transfers on her through profile note. I think she means on. I think this is like a. So the guy is saying, if you have the opportunity to leave the country, do it right now. Learn English, French, etc. Sad to say, she won't be able to travel to the U.S. even if she married Ralph. Why? The only thing unreachable, similar to the U.S.'s slang of suck up man woman, is a Raptor, a Jeep, and a tuning, and plastic surgery. And my dreams of that I want to pay. A guy, so what? So she's just a dirty hoe trying to get into the U.S. And she offers a way to help expedite her quest to enter the United States. When people found out that this was her and they started messaging her, she made the offer. 4,500 Mexican pesos, approximately $250, and you get the information. Okay, I don't know what que buscas means, but she's saying, what you're looking for. 4,500 pesos, and I give you the information you're looking for in regards to Ethan and Ralph, because the guy was asking about Ralph. All right, here's the full one. Senorita confirms for 250 she will pass information about Ralph, screenshots, and a photo of where he lives. So, there you go, Ralph. Sorry, you the hoe, and now we know about the hoe. And for a mere 60 subs, she is willing to disclose the hoe, or the facts about your hoeing about to the general public. Sad, pathetic.